Good morning. How's everybody today? Hope you're doing well. So what's Kevin up to? Come to the mall to Mr. DIY to buy an extension cable. Probably the cheapest place to buy a decent quality one. So I need an extension cable to plug in my security system and stereo and something else. I can't remember. 3 things. So I got the extension cable, had some lunch, been doodling around, not much to do. It's Friday, so I thought if I'm going to come to town today, because I don't like going on the weekends. So just been nosing around and seeing what I can find. I was just chatting to this guy and his wife about the Volkswagen. I had one of these when I lived in Germany. They said about what, you know, Deutschland and VW. You don't say VW, you say VW in German. Kind of cool. I had one. This is a 19, he says 72, but on the windscreen, but he said it's a 71. Really cool. I'm not sure what year this one is, but it doesn't have a roll-up window. It's got a slidey window and manual on the floor. See it? Old dashboard. Just talking to these guys with the Volkswagens. They're on a show. They sell their stuff from it, and the other one was 400,000 baht to sell at today's market value in Thailand. Hello guys, good afternoon. I'm home again. What have I been doing since I've been home? Well, the salang, the screening that goes around the shade garden to protect my plants that don't like a lot of sun, got blown off once again by the heavy winds last night. So I don't know how many times since I've been here have I fixed that. But I fixed that. I put the new light for the camera out the back. That's that done. Been pottering about, tidying a little bit. Sugar's eaten, birds have eaten. But Kevin hasn't eaten yet. He will soon. What do you think of those Volkswagen buses? Super cool, huh? I had one of those. I bought it in Germany. And it had seats in it and everything. It had been quite easy to restore it because it was in quite good condition. So, but what I did is I took the seats out and threw them away. I know, bad, right? But I built a camper inside it. I had a sink with a 5-gallon jerry can underneath, one full of good water and one was wastewater. So when you turn the valve, the pressure difference, the pump would pump by itself, and it went, you know, from one to another, so you could wash your dishes. There was a 2-ring oven, a 2-ring cooker with like an oven type thing on top of it, where you could put your plates and things to keep them warm. But that would all collapse down into itself, and then I made this like what do you call it? Like a cover that came over the top of it. So when it was finished, it looked just like part of the cupboard. You couldn't tell what's underneath. And to the right of that was a cupboard with some storage inside. I actually had another cupboard to the far left of the sink, which a portable toilet was in there, and another cupboard with spare food. And then where the seats were at the back, I built 2 individual seats, and in the middle there was a cupboard. Then the children were little, and the idea is it lifted forward towards the front of the vehicle, so they could put all their crayons and things they were playing with in there, put the lid down, and then draw on the lid. Not on the lid, but you know, you get the gist, right? So it come out beautiful. It come out so nice. This is when I was a young guy, right? Still in the army. Well, actually, I was in quite a while, but there's another story if you're interested later. But my boss liked it so much. I looked out my office window one day and my big boss was outside with all his friends in it. I'm like, what's going on here? So I went outside to see what was going on. So my big boss is inside of my van showing all his friends, look what my guy built. So it came out beautiful, and a lot of the fittings and couplings, the stuff I got from a German hardware store for kitchen stuff. So I spent quite a bit of money on it because I wanted to make it super nice. And in the back, you know, they had the engine in the back. in the back I raised it up 6 inches and made the whole thing like a suitcase inside. So you could open it, you had to go around the back and to open it. No, you could open it in front for clothes, go around the back, and there was a section in there for tools. You know, because in Germany you used to have to carry 5 liters of petrol, a warning triangle, and some other stuff I forget now. But I had my toolbox in there too, so you couldn't see it from inside the vehicle because you had to open the back to get to the tool. But it was on top of the engine compartment. Super cool, very nice. So I turned the van into a camper, and I lived in an area of Germany called Bergen, which was the village, and then there was Belsen, which is the area, Bergen-Belsen. And Belsen is actually the area where the concentration camp was that Anne Frank passed in. And I worked about 3 kilometers from that concentration camp. Kind of spooky, but that's where I was told to go. So I was there for just over 2 years, 2.5 actually. So I took the van, the mini bus that I converted, all the way down to Birches Gardens, around Austria and back. You know, around everywhere in southern Germany. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area. But coming down out of the mountain, when I went to the Eagle's Nest, that was an experience. It's a long, steep hill. So yes, you can use the gears and the manual. You can use the gears quite easy, and also an automatic. But because it's so steep, it was even in a low gear, the engine was revving like crazy. So you just try to touch the brake a little bit, not to go crazy, so you don't get brake fade. But in some places I thought I was actually going to get it, but I managed to stop the van, let it cool down, and then got out of the mountain. So it was pretty good. But the funny thing was, when I left the Germany, I knew I couldn't afford to have that van in England, so I decided to sell the van, right? And the guy seen the van, and you know, I just had a for sale sign on it, and the guy seen the van and wanted to buy it. So I said sure. So I sold it to him. I can't remember how much I sold it for. More than I bought it, I think, just a little, but I actually spent a lot on it, so I don't know if I made a big profit or not, I can't remember. But I sold it. Well, the guy wasn't in the military, he was a civilian, you know, doing business, supporting the local, the military guys. He's an English guy, basically. Not part of the PX or commissary or NAFI or anything like that, just a local guy selling cars and stuff to military, right? So he bought it from me, and then I left Germany, went to England, back to England, and eventually I got a letter from him. Where's the certificate that says where it was built? I wrote back, I said, there is no certificate of where it was built. He said, why? I told him why, because I built it myself. Well, he thought, because it was so good, he thought that it was built by a company. And in Germany, the law says you cannot renovate a van yourself. You have to have a company to do it, where you get a certificate that says it passed all these different codes. So he thought he was getting over me, and in the end, he got stuck with the van. I said, I didn't know about all that stuff, but you know, I thought he wanted it for himself. He's a British guy, but he didn't. He sold it to a German, and the German, you know, took it to get it, the MOT, vehicle inspection, whatever you want to call it. And they wouldn't pass it until he had the certificate. And there was no, you're supposed to have like a little seal somewhere to say this is where it was done and a certificate. Nope. But that tells me one thing, that they thought the craftsmanship was good enough to think a company had done it. Okay guys, I think that's the end of the day. Kevin's gonna go in and get some hot tea, sit down and relax. I hope you have a lovely evening, whatever you're doing, wherever you're going. Look after yourselves, buckets of blessings, rivers of peace, joy, and kindness. Have a lovely weekend. All the very best. Good night.